Hello there, and welcome to the next chapter of this series of videos for my book, The Self-Harming Pacifist. My name is Zach Thraves, and that was me, and still is me. Well, the emotions are still there, if not the actions. And this describes my story when I was going through depression and when I was in a severe state. Now, the Self-Harming Pacifist, a little piece of history for you actually. It says so on the blurb on the book. It started out as a script in 2008. I wrote a script called The Self-Harming Pacifist about a young man who is covered in scars. It's almost like the story of his life is over his body, and his life falls apart in the UK, so he decides to go travelling, and he goes through France, where he meets a girl, and then he meets a guy, and then they all become these sort of friends, and he ends up having to sort of make a decision with his life. Does he want to die or does he want to live? It's sort of, it's a sort of a light version of The Outsider, or perhaps it was a sort of a tragicomedy, is the way I wrote it, and the script nothing ever came of it, but the title remained with me, and when I started writing about my experiences with depression and my emotions and trying to, I suppose, come to terms with who I am and the idiosyncrasies that go on and the craziness in my head, I decided to use the title for the script for my book. The book, I mean, it's not very long, but I'm very happy to say that it's had a few good, decent reviews on Amazon, and it's also helped people, which was the point of it. My story to help inspire others into accepting themselves for who they are. That's the point of this book. I'm currently in the process of writing a sequel. We will. I don't know how long that will take, and I don't know when it will be released. I've written 2 chapters so far. Anyway, last time, previously on the Self-Harming Pacifist, we got to an interval, and the interval said, "Please take this moment to try our refreshments, enjoy a cold drink, or visit the public conveniences. On behalf of the management, thank you." So then that means we move on to part 2, which is like act 2, or like scene 2, or like the sequel, Airplane 2. So part 2, this is track number 8, and it's called Be Kind to You. Do not go out into the wild alone. There is one thing which is so important to our lives, and it happens to be the one thing that we find most difficult to do when struggling to breathe in the waters of depression. Communication. Now let's just look at that word for a moment and how it is constructed. Commune comes from community, and commune from togetherness and oneness, from all of us sticking together and aiding each other. A family, a bond, a link to what it is to be human, a member of our species. We naturally want to protect, not fight. We strive to be safe, not live in fear. When that heavy black cloud descends, when it sends forth instructions that you need to be alone and that everyone hates you, or that you are useless and no one can understand, remember that these are lies. Deep-rooted sadistic, evil lies. This might help. Picture a politician telling you those things instead of a voice that you trust, and perhaps you can quickly rally against it. I can think of a few right now. Reach out. We are now living in an age of immediate communication. If you don't want to speak to anyone, you have other options. Text, tweet, post, email, emoji. They may not be perfect, but they are something. And as with anything in life, something is better than nothing. If you are alone and you feel the signals of suicide or self-harm, please reach out to someone to tell them how you are feeling. We all have someone who will listen. You may think that there is nobody, but the honest truth is that there is. How do I know? Because those are the people who say at the funeral that all they had to do was call. Be honest with yourself. Recognise the feelings and then be honest with the person you are reaching out to. They may be shocked, scared, unsure, panicked, but they don't want to be sad or grieving for you. Being scared is so much easier to overcome. Reaching out starts your journey to getting through it. There are always going to be times when you need to be alone and just be with you. This is natural, not selfish. People without depression need me time. It's just that when you are diagnosed with depression or anxiety, suddenly it becomes strange that you would want to be on your own. Almost sinister, because perhaps you are planning your own death. And that's not what is happening in most cases. Sadly, in some cases it is. But we must be honest about the condition and remove stigma around patients or sufferers. The important thing is to live your life, and sometimes, just sometimes, you can have a lot of fun when you are on your own doing the things that you like to do, when you want to do them. It's liberating and it exercises the imagination. There is no better feeling than that aha moment when you decide that instead of being bored, you'll do this. You enter an activity with power and vigour and enthusiasm, and suddenly the day is nearly done. Let people be people. Don't judge others by your own standards or fears or needs. Judgment is all too prevalent in our society. We hear it every day on the television and on the radio and from colleagues and from family. We all have an opinion. It's no wonder some of us have a bad opinion of ourselves. Free yourself. Give yourself a break and empty your mind of those negative judgments. Fill your mind with pleasure and fun. Here's a list of what I get up to on my lonely days. I watch an old movie. I'm a child of the 80s. Weird science is a guilty pleasure. I listen to music with headphones on. I have a beer in the afternoon with no guilt. I strum the guitar. I make silly films for YouTube. I write blog ideas. I start a book that I may never finish. I go through old photos. I watch nonsense on YouTube. I sit in the garden, weather permitting. You get the idea. Short chapters, but I hope that they bring something to you. And I hope that they help if you feel those dark clouds circling. There's always a way out. And not just by self-harm or suicide. There's a way out by communication. There's a way out by honesty. And it starts from here. Look after yourself primarily. You know, in the airports they say, in the aeroplanes they say, put your you'll put your ask on first before you help others, that's because in order to be helpful to others around you and people that you love, you have to put yourself first. Look after yourself first. Your health, mental, physical, is number one priority. Tune in next time for another chapter of The Self-Harming Pacifist. See you soon.